do not necessarily reflect those of the advertisers, owners, or management of Pacific Telestations, LLC. For comments, opinions, and questions, please email Jess Lujan at jessthebuzz@gmail.com. The Buzz with Jess Lujan.
Good evening, Guam. I'm Jess Lujan. Welcome to this edition of The Buzz. Exciting show tonight. I have my former colleague, but now President of the Bank of Guam, celebrating 45 years of service here in Guam, Guerrero.
Thank you.
Good evening. How you doing?
Thank you for the invite. Great.
Oh no,
Great.
it's fantastic. You know, I'll be remiss, of course, as all indications are that you're going to be running for governor. But first of all, I want to talk about 45 years service in Guam and you being the president of the Bank of Guam. Take us back to day one.
Well, I remember my dad when he decided to leave his stable job from Bank of America and decided to start the Bank of Guam. And his biggest drive with that is that he wanted to really take care of the everyday person, the person that, you know, has an 8-hour job, is trying to make ends meet, and he saw that the financial institutions at that time were much more focused on commercial lending, businesses. And so that was really the impetus that made him go out, take the risk, and he started canvassing home to home, asking people to invest in the bank, and he came up with $1 million as a beginning. And now, 45 years later, we are a $1.9 billion company. That was his greatest vision, is to be a $1 billion company. And it's really eerie, just because we became a $1 billion company on my brother Tony's birthday.
Wow.
And you know, he has passed away. And
Sure.
It was, I never once imagined that I will be the president and CEO of Bank of Guam. But when I came back, in my healthcare career, I came back and my dad said, I want you to be part of the bank because who knows, one of these days you may be running the bank. And when he passed away and when my brother Tony passed away, you know, those words came back to me, and I said, I'm going to do it.
Well, I remember we were serving the legislature when, of course, when your brother passed, and then you left the legislature actually to join up the family to take over your brother's position, and it was of course a bittersweet, you know, serving with you, but you had to step up to the plate as your dad had envisioned.
And I had to really think really hard because I really enjoyed my job as a senator, as a policymaker. I really believe the legislature, equal branch of government, is a very important piece in the whole democracy, right? That's where laws are made, that's where our destinies are determined. And of course, gubernatorial, governor, executive implements the policies, and of course the courts make sure it's implemented. I mean, make sure that it's legal and it's lawful, it's constitutional, and so forth. And so I hold very sacred my job. I held my job as senator very, very sacred, and did my best that I could possibly do as senator. And I believe that as a result of some of my major legislations, the health care of our island today has improved in the form of cleaner restaurants, you know, more funds for preventive kinds of programs. So I just as much enjoyed that also. But being president and CEO of the bank is also exciting.
How was that transition? Because, you know, of course, a lot of things you accomplish as a senator as well. But also, it's a political arena, and you know, political decisions are made as well. But transitioning over from a political position to a business position, where you now have to make business decisions.
Yes.
And a lot of times people will say, well, you know, you should be making business decisions in a political office. So how was that transition?
Well, you know, the transition was smooth because the senior management team at the bank and the board were very supportive. So I didn't have to prove myself much with that group. They were very supportive. The team that my dad had grown and had groomed is very stable, very strong. Their expertise, it ranges 100 years total. And so I was not too uncomfortable with that part. But you know, I'll tell you this, financial issues, financial concerns of people is one of the biggest stress that people have in terms of their quality of life. And so I saw that and I said, wow, if we could meet the financial stress of our people, their quality of life will be improved. And that's one way of tying in financial industry to the social services, to social and health and economic lives of our community.
Well, likewise, when you make, and absolutely, that's absolutely 100% true, but how do you make things possible as well? I mean, the Bank of Guam was not a part of the collapse of financial institutions years back, not too far back, because of the, I guess, stringent policies that are in place. So not everybody can. You can't say yes to everybody as well. You can't solve everybody's ills as well. Times are getting harder, tougher, and you know, I mean, Gov Guam, we also can't, you know, like our personal lives, we cannot borrow ourselves to prosperity.
Right.
So how do you balance that with not being able to? Someone comes to you, if I'm always borrowing, at some point you're going to say, Jess, you keep borrowing. You keep paying, but you keep borrowing. You can't continue to do this.
Well, in those situations, we do a lot of financial advising, and we do a lot of coaching with those individuals, and we give them options. You know, we say, let's see how you do in the next year, and then we'll see how your credit does, and then come back when you pay down, you know, 50% of your loan. Come back and we'll look at it. So you don't really leave them with no options at all, right? And a lot of times I find that people are very grateful. They're grateful for that, and they know their credit. They know their bad credit risk. They know that because that's the first thing they say. Lou, you know, my credit isn't all that great.
That's why they're calling you.
But I'll tell you again, when I look at why their credit, it's because either their mother was sick and they had to pay medical bills, or they got a divorce and they had to reprioritize, you know, the money that they have, what's more important, or they have to send their kids off to college. There's always a reason, right? But we try to work with them very, very closely. And I say to them, you know, it's more of a disservice to you if I give you this loan, because it's just going to totally put you in a spiraling movement down, you know, and they're appreciative of that. They're very appreciative.
And Lou, and listening to you, it sounds that you still have that heart for the people, and not just in the business sector, but you still have that heart, and I guess that's why you're seriously. I think it's officially that you're seeking a seat at ADLU, right?
You know, I was raised in a family that was very generous, in a family that was very community involved. My dad, before he started the bank, was very strong in the Democratic Party. My mom was the treasurer of the Democratic Party at one time. They used to haul us in the car and we go to these Democratic rallies, right? So I was introduced in that kind of political environment, and I had fun. I loved it. And my dad always taught us to make sure he instilled the values of giving back, the values of being community involved, the values of helping people, and the values of helping those that are in greater need. So those are the values that I use, not just in nursing, which is very, very apropos, but also as a senator and also as the president and CEO of the bank. I'll tell you, our bank, I go out there and I say our bank is a bank with a heart. And that's our brand, our essence is our bank is the bank with a heart. And I always say to my employees, put yourself in the shoe of that person, right? Be more empathetic, be more a little bit compassionate. And wow, that has resonated down to tellers, because
Yeah.
to this day, when I'm grocery shopping, people will pull me aside and say, Lou, I really like your tellers at Tumon Branch. Wow, the tellers in Malesu are so kind, and they're so welcoming, you know, and that's our reputation.
Yeah.
That's our reputation.
They're very correct about the Tumon Branch.
Oh, the Tumon Branch.
They're very correct about that. Yeah.
Well, they're like that all around.
But they took out the ATM.
I know. Well, you'll see why.
Okay,
You will
no,
see why.
I was there the other day. I said they took it out.
I know.
Oh my
You
God.
will see why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got to take a quick break. When we come back, 2018.